And joining us now for the candidate for the Democratic primary in the 34th Senate District, we welcome now incumbent Senator Jeffrey Klein, and welcome. It's good to see you.
Good to see you again.
All is well?
Yes.
Good. So talk to us. You're doing this again. And talk to us about the campaign.
You know, when I first ran for the Senate, back in 2004, I won this seat and made it a Democratic seat. It was the first time a Democrat was ever elected in over 50 years. And since then, I fought very hard for a Democratic majority. We achieved one. Unfortunately, we were judged by the likes of Pedro Espada, Hiram Montserrat, Carl Kruger, John Sampson, all of them who are now in jail. So I decided after that, when the Democrats lost the majority, to form the Independent Democratic Conference. And I'm very proud of, over the years, myself and my other IDC members achieved a lot. Gun control, the SAFE Act, the toughest gun law in the nation, $15 minimum wage, 12 weeks of paid family leave. The list goes on and on. But when everything in its time is the right thing, because I think we really got a lot of things done, even though the Republicans were in charge, things come to an end. So we disbanded the IDC back in April because I think the Trump administration and the National Republicans caused us to hit a brick wall. We're constantly fighting policies that are coming out of Washington. And we need to be strong here in the state of New York and unified, and that's why we have to respond to Trump's administration on immigration, on women's issues, on the tax plan that they put forth, which really decimates New Yorkers. So really, I'm running on my record of achievement. My constituents send me to Albany to get things done, and I think we achieved a lot, both in Albany and locally.
What would you say to critics who say about the IDC? Okay, they say possibly blocks legislation, prevented some things from happening. How do you respond to those?
Well, my opponent and some of her small following is really peddling a false narrative. It's just not true. I ran as a Democrat. I'll always be a Democrat. I'm a lifelong Democrat. So if somehow we're responsible for blocking things, well, how did we get a $15 minimum wage? How did we get 12 weeks of paid family leave? How did we get the toughest gun control law in the nation? How did we raise the age of criminal responsibility for 16 and 17-year-olds? Now we're going to have rehabilitation instead of incarceration. The list goes on. And how did I create a program in the Bronx called SUV, which has reduced gun violence in our communities by close to 65%? How did we start a program called Bronx Hire Survivor that gets jobs for domestic violence victims so they can go on with their lives and have financial independence? So I think what a lot of people are talking about is just not true. Yes, we need to codify Roe v. Wade. Yes, I think, should have a single-payer health program. Yes, we need campaign finance reform. But the only way we're going to get that done is if we have 32 duly elected Democrats, all together in one conference. Right now, we have 31.
Give me a little bit about your district right now. As you look across your district, what do you see as the primary needs, given the fact you touted a lot of stuff? What do you still see as the primary needs that still remain to be done?
Well, my district is very diverse, and I love the diversity of my district. From Hunts Point to Riverdale, and a lot of great communities in between in the Bronx. I think they want an elected official that's going to get things done locally and deliver for the communities I represent. I have programs up and running in every community in my district. We talked about the anti-gun violence program, but we also have a women's health initiative that promotes healthy eating and exercise, which has become wildly popular. We're going to actually spread it throughout the district. They want me to fight for our local schools. I started a program called Project Boost, which makes sure kids have after-school programs, special programs within the schools. It's a basic concept that education should not only be within the four walls of a classroom. We had kids going to Broadway shows for the first time, visiting colleges when they're in middle school, so they can sort of get an idea of what they want to do, what college they want to go to, and what career they want to pursue. These are the things that I hear about from my constituents, a lot of these local concerns. But yes, they want me to go to Albany and fight for more housing. I'm very proud of the fact that I recreated the Mitchell-Lama program, which is probably the greatest housing program New York State has ever created. I actually put together $150 million for a middle-income tax credit, which is going to be able to build thousands of units for working-class people around the Bronx.
So when you talk about Mitchell-Lama housing, some people talk about affordable housing, right? A lot of development going on in our borough, but yet and still the question about affordable housing. How do you deal with the crisis of affordable housing in the areas that you represent?
Well, it's really interesting. When we say affordable housing that's being built right now is really low-income housing because the income level to get into affordable housing is usually under $40,000. That's why I recreated the program in Mitchell-Lama, where under my middle income tax credit, yes, the person who makes $40,000 a year or under, they can live there, but someone who makes $100,000 a year, family income, can live there as well. I don't know why we have to limit. You know, people can live under one roof with many different income levels. You know, that's how we really deal with the housing shortage. You know, the example that I had was in the Soundview community that I represent. They were going to build a homeless shelter, 230 beds. The community didn't want it, they fought it. But they said, hey, let's do affordable housing. But now I'm pushing to raise the income level because people who live in that community can't get into these housing developments because their income is too high. It's not a large income. It's $75,000, maybe it's $80,000, maybe it's $125,000 for two people working. I think really that's the answer.
A lot of work has been going on in your district, but still a lot of challenges. What are the challenges for you?
Well, I think we have to be mindful of overdevelopment. I think my communities, you know, I represent some great homeowner communities, you know, some great developments as far as, you know, high-rises are concerned. They want to be able to maintain their quality of life. They want to maintain their neighborhoods. The other area that's still a problem in my district is car theft. You know, unfortunately, the city as a whole has seen a reduction in car thefts by 10%. In the Bronx, it's only a 1% reduction over the last 3 years. So just last week, myself and the district attorney's office kicked off a really innovative program called Combat Auto Theft, where I put forth over $100,000 to purchase new bait cars, surveillance cameras, a surveillance van. You know, this shows that, you know, we're going to really do something about car thefts, especially precincts like the 50th precincts, the 45th, the 49th, even Soundview sections in the 43rd and Castle Hill. That's still a huge problem, and I hope this program is going to really reduce car theft in our communities.
Well, glad having you here. State Senator Jeffrey Klein, thank you so much for coming and sharing with us.
Always a pleasure.
Best wishes. Good to see you.
again.
Gotta excuse my hand, okay?
That's okay.
All right. Listen, thank you for joining us. Listen, we'll have more show coming up right after this.